Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. And in today's video I would like to talk about kind of project planning, glow buys, my stance on that. Since this is like my first full year actually really planning and being part of a lot of different projects. Because last year and the previous years it was more like stuff that I wanted to finish that year and then like filming my intro and outro for the year, and there wasn't really any like progress updates or anything like that. So this year I've been a little bit more focused on these things. I've been doing Project Level Up, Windows Eyeshadows, Project 20 uses, and a lot of other different projects to kind of help me plan more. And I definitely want to continue with that for next year and maybe even amp it up and be part of more projects that I am right now. So I would like to talk about that, and I thought that while I'm going to be talking about all of these topics, I could also do a get ready with me and just show you what I want to use today. I have a couple of products that are in my, like, that I'm trying to completely pan, products that I'm just trying to nope and left behind, and then products that I just want to use for the sake of using it, because I have one palette here that's one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection, and I just wanted to use it. I finally have a bit more time since it's the weekend for me, and so that's what we're gonna do today. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. I got this suggestion in a couple of comments in the past like month and a half, so I thought today is a perfect day to actually film it. I'm gonna start with my brows because that's where I always start, and I'm currently trying to pan this shade called Soft Play from the Christmas Eve palette from Oden's Eye. As you can see, I don't have much of it, and I'm mixing it. I've been mixing it for the past multiple weeks, for the past couple of weeks, with another shade from that palette, and that is called Nowhere. I actually have it depotted. So I'm gonna use these two in my brows, and I'm gonna start talking. So when it comes to project planning, as I said, I've been only, and I'm sorry if I'm not gonna look into the camera all the time because obviously I'm focusing on the makeup as well. But as I said, I've been kind of trying to be part of more project planning, more planning projects, because last year I've had like a list of things I want to pan, and then I had my Pando's palettes. Those were like pretty much the only planning project that I would do in the past couple of years, and it wasn't really something I would update regularly. I would do a beginning of the year like intro, then mid-year update, and then end of the year update, and that was all that you would get from me on those. But now, especially since I've been also updating uploading every single day this year, and I want to continue with that because it's really helping my channel to grow, and it's also, now that I'm part of the AdSense program, it does help me a little bit. Obviously, I don't earn all that much there. Like, it's like, I don't know, maybe $1 a day, and that's on the good days, but you know, it's something, and it does help me out. And for that, it's really good if I upload every single day. But my main reason for actually doing it is the fact that I just really like it. I've been really enjoying that, and that's something that I noticed with a lot of like all-time banners, like kind of like the OGs, that a lot of these people, that a lot of these creators are kind of pulling out from project planning. And I don't know if it's just like boredom, or you know, I understand that if you do something for a very, very long time, it might get a little bit annoying. But I've noticed that a lot of the people that are kind of known in the project, in the planning community, are kind of slowly either minimizing the amount of projects that they're doing, or they're stopping altogether. And for me, obviously, I'm just starting. It's my first year. But I have to say, I've been really enjoying it. And what I've noticed with a lot of these old school banners is that one of their complaints is the fact that it's boring for them, and it doesn't really allow them to like play with their whole collection and stuff like that. But I've actually, for me at least, my experience is that project banning helps me to kind of find new ways how to use products that I've already used many times, and find maybe like a more fun and cooler ways for them to be used. And or like with my Pendos eyeshadows, like, you know, trying to use one shade every single day but making the look completely different every single day. That's been really, really fun for me. And just, you know, like when I was planning the neon yellow from the Serpent palette from Makeup Beauty Shop, like I would wear it maybe like 4 times a week. And I would always wear it with different colors and in different placements. And, you know, like I could still use any other palette that I wanted, and I could still have a lot of fun with that. But also coming up with fun combos and, you know, just ways to use those products in a little bit differently than I was used to. I'm gonna use my Super Luck Brow Glue. So that's one kind of trend that I've noticed that I wanted to talk about. Is like, for me, it inspires me even more to like come up with a completely new color stories. Also the color story that I get every single month, like it's always something a little bit different. And, you know, I always try to come up at least with one look that utilizes all of my Pendos eyeshadows, for example. And it's just fun, you know, like it's... So there's a motorcycle. But for me, it's fun to like try to come up with as many ways to use one particular product, but still making it seem and look different for me and for you. And yeah, so for me, I definitely am not like getting bored from it. Another thing that I've noticed that for a lot of people, panning has turned kind of into like a chore, kind of something that they have to force themselves into. And again, that's something that I don't really feel like is happening for me, or that would happen for me. And I think part of it is the fact that I don't keep products that I don't like. Like the second I realize that the product isn't for me anymore, like I don't enjoy it anymore, it doesn't work with what I am currently like into, I'm just gonna get rid of it, because I'm not gonna keep product in hopes of maybe one day in 5 years, you know, returning to love it. Like if in 5 years I find out, you know what, I actually kind of like this product and I wish I had it back, you know what, I can still buy it, you know. And if it's not available, then I can find something that's similar, right? Like finding a dupe. I'm using the Catrice Grip to Last primer, by the way. So like I don't struggle with that. If I think something is just not good enough for me anymore, I'm just really, really bored of it, it doesn't bring me any joy, I'm just not gonna continue with that. I don't see why I should force myself into something. For me, YouTube and project banning and everything that I do here on this platform is something I do for fun. This is my hobby. This is something that I do to kind of de-stress, detox. Something that just brings me so much joy. And I never think of anything I do on this platform as a chore. Sometimes I am a little bit more tired in the evening and I know I wanna like edit the video and upload it, and sometimes that is a little bit like, you know, demanding, but then I get so happy when I get to upload it. So it's just like one of those things like, oh, I have to do something now and I don't want to do anything, but also I could procrastinate for 3 weeks and not do anything and I still would feel like I'm not really feeling like doing anything. Like it's more like me just being lazy, or maybe just being like tired in general, but it's not because I would be tired of this or that I would see it as a chore. I don't know if it makes sense what I just said, because I feel like some things are really hard to say in English since it's not my first language and I never really know how to properly explain it so that you understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, so for me, like if I would notice that something that I'm planning isn't worth it or that I don't have fun, I would just roll it out. or I would declutter it. Like, that really depends on if I ever see myself actually liking it in the near future, or if I don't. But it's definitely not, like, I wouldn't force myself, I wouldn't hate pan or anything. Like, I'm not that type of person. I just view this as fun little hobby, so that's that. And I don't keep products that aren't serving me or that I'm not enjoying. Like, if I notice that a palette or a product, or like a face product, isn't worth it anymore, it's just going away. Like, I don't keep products. And that kind of also, I would like to get into low buys and, like, just under consumption and stuff like that. Unlike some banners, I've never really had large collections of anything. Like, yes, I have under 70 eyeshadow palettes, but I wear eyeshadow every single day, sometimes even twice a day, and I do pretty bright, colorful, out there looks. Obviously, if I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning for job, I might not do as insanely creative looks, but I still do colorful looks on those days. And I'm gonna use this Sheen Effect palette, by the way, for this pink shade, which is called VIP Pass. So for me, I don't really have a huge collection, especially for face products. Like, yes, I do have a couple blushes. I have definitely acquired quite a bit of blushes in the past, like, year and a half, but I still, and I know that it takes a million years to use up a blush, so trust me, I'm now kind of on a no buy for blushes. Like, I definitely don't want to buy any more blushes until I finish at least a couple of the ones that I have. But apart from that, like, I know people who have like 30 foundations and they never wear makeup, ever. Or they have 40 mascaras in their collection. Why? Like, I have one, maybe two, and I always use them up and then I just buy new ones. The same for concealers. I have one concealer that I'm currently using up. I have another two that I've recently tried in my full face off. One of them I think I'm gonna use more like a eyeshadow primer maybe in the future, because it's quite light for me on the skin, so maybe it's gonna be good for like eyeshadow primer. Some concealers can be used that way. It just really depends on your on the way how your lids react and what kind of eyeshadows you're using, and obviously on the formula of the concealer. But like, I don't have 40 different concealers. I don't have 55 different red lipsticks. If I have multiple of one category, it's because they're all different shades. And I try not to have duplicate shades. So if I already know I own 4 orange blushes, I'm not gonna buy another orange blush until I finish the ones I already have. If I know I never use setting spray, I'm not gonna buy setting spray just to see if I'm also not gonna like the next one. Like, it's, I've always, and I come from a pretty frugal family, so not by like mentality, just because, we didn't have too much money when I was growing up. So I'm just not used to like throwing money away for no reason. So I never had a huge collection to try to like kind of, go through and use up. And for most of the products that I have in my collection, if I would use them up, I would have to replace them with something else or repurchase them, because it is something that I would be missing in my collection, if that makes sense. So it's not like I can just minimize my collection in many aspects, because then I would be missing products to use on everyday basis. And when it comes to like getting bored of products that you're panning, it can get a little bit boring with eyeshadows if you're working on too many eyeshadows to finish. But apart from that, I don't think I could get bored. Like, I have absolutely no problem using the same concealer every single day. I have absolutely no problem using the same blush every single day if it's like a neutral blush. If it would be like red or super bright orange, yeah, that could be a little bit more problematic. But if it's like a peachy blush, if you're gonna tell me that I have to wear it for 8 months straight, I have no problem. Maybe I would, change it up once a week for something more exciting, but for face product, I'm very basic. Like, I have absolutely no reason to use more than one product, unless I actually want to. I'm gonna use my Spooked palette from Gourmand Girls because I'm currently, I think I can say in which project it is since it's been like almost 2 weeks now. It's in my project Level Up. So I want an open look behind this one, and I'm gonna use the shade Terror. I really want to do like a pink and a red look. So let me actually use this one. So yeah, so for me, like when it comes to like face products, I have absolutely no problem panning those and like using them until they're completely used up. Like, it's not an issue for me, and I don't think I would get bored out of that. I do want to start the rolling project pan for next year. I was wondering about that, and I think I even asked you in my project planning if you would be interested in that, or if I should do the same thing that I did this year, which is the 25 things to pan in 2025. But I think I'm gonna do the rolling project pan because, I don't know, it just seems a little bit more exciting, and at least there's like the dynamic of the fact that once you finish something, you're rolling something else in, so that it's constantly changing and you're not working on the same list for the whole year in a way. So I do like the fact that it's a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more fun. So I think I'm gonna do that next year instead of the 26 things in 2026, right? So I want to start that one. I think that could be really fun. I will continue with my pendant palette, but I will definitely make it easier for myself. This year I'm working on so many palettes because I have multiple palettes from last year that I still had a bit of work to do on. But now I've recently updated one of the palettes because it's completely used up. So I have a kind of stats video for my Merry Christmas palette, which is the one that I've completely used up. If you want to see that, I will put it in the card over here. I think that's the right side. But I definitely want to, for next year, either work on only one palette or two max. And like, that would have to be like, there would have to be a smaller palette involved if there were two. And I have my contenders, but I will definitely let you vote on that to like see what you would enjoy, because obviously I don't want to update something that none of you actually care for, even though it would be exciting for me. Like, I also want this to be exciting for you. So I will definitely have to like think about that and let you vote on that. But I do want to do that. I definitely want to continue with Pendos eyeshadows because that is kind of my main source. Well, not my main source, but one of the sources of creativity for me. And it actually pushed me further into the creative aspect of makeup, even though I think I was already pretty creative before, but I feel like it's even better now thanks to that project. I think that one really is like helping me a lot, and just it makes me so excited. Also, like the fact that you're rolling something new and it's always like the dynamic of it, like genuinely it's so fun. Or the project Level Up from Sophie Alexandra, love that project. Clearly I'm working on it quite religiously, and it's great because then I get to really enjoy a palette and I choose which shades I want to pan. So that's kind of the best of both worlds. I'm gonna use the shade Fright in the outer corner. So, you know, I've just been very happy with, sorry, that was a notification. I've just been very happy with those things, and it just makes me a little bit more appreciative of what I have. It helps me to kind of go through everything, because last year I would go through a lot of my pads. Like, I would use all of my pads multiple times in that year, but it would be very, but I like the fact that now I actually need to like focus on that palette for multiple looks if I do like the Project 20 uses or Project Level Up, and they are actually like really go deep with that. Because last year, like, if I would use that palette 4 times a year, but obviously they wouldn't be like consecutively, but it would be like once in March, once in July, once in September, you know, it wouldn't be that easy to remember the formula and what I actually like or dislike about it. But now if I have to use it multiple times a month for like the Project 20 uses or Project Level Up, I actually remember like, oh, so I noticed that this formula is really nice, but there's one shade that maybe acts differently, and it acts differently when I use this primer but not this primer, and I know more about my products, which is always wonderful. And I love just having so much info on all of my palettes and all of the products that I have, because again, I'm such a huge nerd when it comes to eyeshadows. Like, I love that. Now I'm gonna use a palette, and I'm gonna use it mostly for shimmers, but I'm gonna use one matte shade as well. This is the one that I was talking about. It's probably one of my most favorite and cherished palettes in my entire collection. Is the Fuji 5 Flex from Nomad. And by the time you're watching this, I just realized that the new Pacific Eastway, no, how is it called? The new palette that they're just sneak peeked, and I think just finished with the guessing game. And by the time you're watching this, I think it's either released or it's been fully revealed. But I just found out that the packaging will be just like this like raised artwork style of packaging, which I absolutely love. It is the most gorgeous packaging I've ever seen. I'm gonna use the shade Red Rowan. Yeah, I think that's how it's called. Just to like blend out the light pink with this a little bit more. And I think I'm gonna use this on the lower lash line, because I don't want to have like too dark of a lower lash line, but I still want it to be a little bit more like in that like pink red tone. And I'm gonna kind of also use it as like a blending out shade, because it's a beautiful neutrally pink. It's like a rosy brown. It's actually really nice to like blend out and use. And if I had more like pinkier hair, if I were to dye them again, I think I would use that in my brows as well. Okay, so let me use that under the on the lower lash line. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to mention for Project Panic. I don't know if there's more you would like me to like talk about, but this is kind of my main observations and what I wanted to say about this. I'm gonna go back into the red for a little bit of a red outer corner. And when it comes to the low buys and no buys, as you probably know, I'm doing the eye bank, like the eyeshadow bank that was created by Laura Force. And essentially, for me, I am not particularly in a no buy or a low buy particularly. It's just kind of that like mindful consumption. So I have no problem buying 6 palettes in a row, because I like all of the releases, but also I don't feel like I should be buying 2 or 3 palettes every single month, you know? So like, I have absolutely no problem spending a lot of money in 1 month for releases that genuinely excite me, but I don't want to overdo it. And it's not as much a money issue, even though obviously it's always nice to save some money and not spend it. But mostly, I'm gonna use my Shine On Shimmer Primer from Cliona. Mostly for me, it's the fact that I don't want to add too many new eyeshadow palettes at the same time, because I noticed that in the months that I maybe review like 1 or 2 palettes, or like I introduce 1 or 2 palettes in my collection, it's really nice because I have enough time in that month to work on my pen those eyeshadows, pen those palettes, film my review and no pen left behind of the new palettes, and also no pen left behind them 2 more times, so that I know that I've used every single shade at least 3 times. And you know, I get to actually experience the new palette, use them for like 10 looks or so, depending on how large they are. But I still get enough time to work on all of my projects and to also work on palettes I just want to use, you know, like the ones that are in my seasonal rotations or like seasonal collections, right? For example, the Fuji palette. So it kind of gives me all of the options, and it doesn't feel hectic, because in the months that I would introduce more than 2 palettes, unless they were like really small, I would get pretty tired of them. I wouldn't really enjoy them as much, and I wouldn't know them as well, because it would all be really kind of fast and, you know, hectic. So I just feel like 2 palettes a month is more than enough to kind of introduce and experience. I'm gonna use this red shade from the Fuji 5 Likes. This is Fiery Maple. It's a beautiful shade. Like, it is so pretty. I love this palette. Like, the formula, the way everything looks, it is incredible. I've already used this palette like 3-4 times. I think this is my 4th time using it since the autumn kind of started. And for me, autumn starts like pretty much with the 1st September, but I think I kind of rolled my autumnal palettes in like the 2nd week of September, if I remember that correctly. But I love autumn. I just truly do. And this palette gives me so much joy and so much happiness, and I want to use it all the time, especially now with the weather. Like, I just now I'm gonna use the shade Bloody from the Spooked palette because I want to use it again. I have to use it for one more look at least, even though I'm probably gonna use it a little bit more because I want to hit a pan on this one. I think it will be an interesting one to hit pan on because I don't normally wear these shades all that often. This is such a like neon-y pink, but I don't normally wear these shades all that often, so I thought that it could be like a little bit more of a challenge and a little bit more exciting. And I don't want to have pans in the same shade in all of my palettes, you know, like it kind of looks silly. So yeah, I think I'm actually gonna go over this pink with my Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette. And I'm gonna use the shade Aurora. Sorry, this one, this pink one. Just a little bit, you know, just to make it slightly sparklier. It's not really gonna change the color, I think, because these are very iridescent. I just want to make it a little bit more sparklier and maybe give it a hint of blue, because this one has a bit of like a blue sheen. I don't know if you can see any difference, but in my opinion, it just looks a little bit nicer. And now, I kind of want to use this shade, but I also think I want to do white inner corner. I'm gonna do the white in the inner corner from the Spooked palette. I think it's called Ghost. No, Ghoul. That's this one. And I'm gonna use the shimmery pink other. I think I'm gonna use that as a highlighter, actually. That could be really pretty because it is a gorgeous shade. Let me actually clean my brush, because I think it had a shade on it previously and it definitely wasn't a white one, so need to be careful. But yeah, I'm doing quite well with this palette. Like with the Spooked palette, I've been using it a lot lately, and that makes me happy because, you know, it definitely was a little bit underappreciated in my collection. Or, well, I've used it, like, I think this might be my 30th use of this palette, like the 30th look that I've created with this palette, but I've also had it for a pretty long time. Like, it is definitely one of the older palettes in my collection, and it's one of the first ones I've reviewed on this channel. So, and this channel is what, 2.5 years old? Almost 3 years old? I'm not completely sure. Or is it over 3 years? I get that confused. So yeah, it's definitely been in my collection for a bit. And I do want to make it look a little bit more used because I do really enjoy this one. Now I'm gonna go into my Galactic Visitor from Cinch, which is my palette crush of, no, not palette crush of the month, it's my Project 20 uses. I've actually used it, I've used this shade to set my primer today, just because I want to try how it feels and if I actually if there is any reason to set your primer, because I've never done that and I never thought that it's important or that you should do it. But I'm gonna use the shade Calm, this one, and I wanna just kind of test how I feel about this entire process. So where was I? Yeah, so I'm not really like on a no buy or low buy, but I definitely want to kind of make it a little bit even. And if I spend more on my palettes, or if I like introduce more palettes in my collection, I would also like to have something out. So either hitting more pans or using up some eyeshadows or using up an entire palette, right? To just kind of like keep the numbers kind of even. Obviously, it's never gonna be even. Like, I know that my collection will grow in the future, and I'm okay with that, but I just don't want it to grow too fast. Like, I don't want to start this year with like 63 palettes and end with 94 palettes. You know, like, that's way too much. And that's way too, like, I just don't want that. I want to actually use my palettes. I actually want to have palettes that have been used multiple times. I know how they performed. I know what I can expect from them, and I don't want to buy palettes just to buy palettes. Like, if I buy something, I know it means something and it actually serves a purpose in my collection. It actually has a justification, and it adds value to my collection. Like, for me, right, the artistic value and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I wanted to mention. I don't think, and I think this is the mindset that I'm gonna continue with in the next year and the years to come. I don't think I'm ever gonna be a person that's like, you know, like shopaholic, like someone who shops every 2 days for new products. Like, that's just not in my blood, and I'm so happy about that, because I don't know where I would put all of these products. But also, I never want to like, whether I'm using the Someone gel liner from Oden in the shade 11, because it's currently in my project pan. But I never want to be the person who just like deprives themselves from enjoying something that they enjoy. Like, I'm not gonna stop myself from buying a palette just because, you know, it might look like I'm spending too much. Obviously, if I don't have the money to spend, I would not spend it. Like, I'm not that illiterate. Like, if I know, like, I know the principle of money in and money out, so I never spend more than what I have. I always have something to save up. And you know, and if one month is a little bit more exciting than another, then it's completely fine. I think I should do an eyeliner, because A, I actually have an eyeliner that I want to finish, and B, I don't know, every single time I do pink looks or red looks, I want to do eyeliner. Or I could do white eyeliner. You know what? Yeah, I want to do white. I actually haven't done white eyeliner in the longest time. And I love how that looks, especially with this type of color story. I do that a lot as well. And I don't know, it's kind of like my go-to, and I always feel so pretty and so fun whenever I do this. So, and then normally, like, now that I'm working again, because the school year is up and running, right, I do have to get up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning 4 times a week. So I don't really do eyeliners those 4 times, or if I do, it's like very simple, quick one, because I just cannot be bothered. Like, I'm not gonna wake up sooner than 4:30. Like, I'm not doing that. Even for makeup, I'm not doing that. I love makeup, but no. Whether this is from Suva, I don't have the lid, but it's just Suva eyeliner in the shade Space Panda. I bought that at Beauty Bay a while ago. Suva isn't a brand anymore, at least as far as I know. but these liners are amazing, and I think they are still a couple of them on Beauty Bay. Okay. Is it fully even? Probably not, because I know myself, but it's as good as it's gonna get. I think I'm gonna do the lower lashes white. I have this Glisten Spectra lash in the shade white. So I think I'm gonna do that on the lower lashes, but the top lashes I will do black just because it looks a little bit better. But I do love to use white mascara on my lower lashes, especially when I do the either white inner corner or the lower lash line or the waterline. I'm gonna use my Catrice Fake It mascara because that's the one that I'm currently using, and it's almost used up because I've already used it like 37 times or something. So, you know. So, those are kind of my opinions about low buys, no buys. Let me know what you guys think about these things and like what your philosophy about these topics is like, but I'm just not, I don't know, I don't want to overcomplicate my life, especially when it comes to my hobbies. Like, I'm very chill about these things, and I think you can tell that I'm really enjoying that because I've had a really good progress in my projects kind of throughout the whole year. Obviously, there has been a couple of projects that are a little bit more challenging for me, but I've had a really nice progress with my like Pendos, Eyeshadows, and project level up and stuff like that. I mean, I went through level 1 to 5 and I'm back to like I'm starting again from level 1, so doing really well considering that I've started most of my projects in the middle of February. And you know, it just for me, it's a really, I love games, right? I'm someone who loves playing, I love games, and this is kind of like how to make a hobby that's already amazing to me, but is very like just artistic, into something that almost feels like a game. And that makes it so much more interesting to me. So I should have first done the concealer before this. I always forget that I should do concealer before my lower lashes. I don't know why I always forget that. But it's literally a thought I have every single day. And yet I still cannot remember it. Like, what is wrong with me? But let me know what you think about this look so far. I think I'm gonna start doing like an every week type of get ready with me that would be inspired by like Halloween or some kind of like this fun spookier looks, or just like, you know, get ready with me that would be inspired by Halloween, because that's my favorite time of year. It's my favorite type of like makeup looks to do. That and also like rainbowy looks for some reason. And I would love to do that. So if you are interested in that, let me know down below, and let me know what would be the first kind of like topic I should try to create a look for. Like if you want me to do like a ghost type of look, or something really dark or bloody or like vampire-y, or, and then like let me know what the look should be about. Or if you have some kind of costume planned and you want me to try to come up with a look for that, just, you know, write that down below. For blush, I'm gonna use my Revolution Fast Base blush in the shade Peach. By the way, I've used my Superstay concealer from Maybelline in the shade 10. I don't know if I mentioned that now that I'm kind of recalling. And this is another, these both are in my year-long, like the 25 things I want to plan this year. And I'm enjoying them both. I love the concealer. I bought it because Angelica Nikos mentioned that it's her favorite, and I love it as well. It is absolutely wonderful concealer. It doesn't need any powder or any setting, which is exactly what I want in my life. I hate when there's concealers and you have to set them. Like, just like, why? Because I pretty much never use powders. So like, that's just such a inconvenience for me. And I love this blush. It looks very skin-like, very hydrating. And I actually have only a little bit left. Like, it was like this tall when I got it. So I've used up a lot this year and I'm very proud of myself. Highlighter. Oh yeah, I was wondering what I said I'm gonna use as a highlighter, but I'm gonna use the Pampas Grass from the Fuji 5 Lake. It's just such a great palette and I'm so happy that I have this one. Like, can you imagine what would happen if I haven't bought this palette? I would be so sad. I don't know what I would do with myself actually, because every single time I see someone using this palette, I get so happy that I have it too. That I also own this palette. Like, you have no clue how happy this palette makes me. And look at this beautiful highlight. It is gorgeous on the face. You can use it in the inner corner, all over the lid as your brow bone shade. It's very, very pretty. It also looks beautiful with like a pinky or a red lip, and then doing the cupid bow. Ah, so pretty. It's a gorgeous shade. I think I'm gonna do, what am I gonna do for my lips? Because I think my Oden's eye lipstick is used up. I'm gonna try to use it. I also have to find lip liner. So I have 2 lip liners that I've rolled in to my project pan for this year. And they're from Essence. They're the 8-Hour Matte Comfort lip liners. One is like a rosy, like dusty rose, and the other one is more like a brown pink. I think I'm gonna use the brown one, and I'm gonna try if my Oden's Eye and Angelica Nyquist Halloween lipstick in the shade Shadow Creature is still good to use, because it is really hard to get any product out these days. And last time that I used it, I kind of said even in my makeup diaries that I think it's gone and I'm not going to be using it anymore. But I want to try to use it. This one is in the shade Cinnamon Spice, by the way. It's the Essence 8-Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner, in case I haven't mentioned it. It's such a beautiful neutral. So it's complicated to make my lips even, because one is like really high up on the cupid's bow, but then like straight down, and the other one is like lower on the cupid's bow, but then goes more like this. So it's literally, one is like that and the other one is like this, you know, like it's confusing. Okay, we still have a little bit. There's that kind of like matte clay-like formula. And I've noticed that these 2 from the Halloween bundle, which is the oldest lipstick formula, like they started doing these lipsticks in their Legendary Diversa collection, which is the collection with like all their collab palettes. And they first used these lipsticks for Angelica, so they're the oldest. And like, I'm noticing that the formula isn't as great. It doesn't have the pigment, and it wasn't like that. Like in the beginning of the year, it definitely wasn't like that. But yeah, it's a beautiful red lip. It just, you know, kind of hard to actually get a product out. I've had it next to my next to the heating unit, so maybe that helped to kind of like soften up the formula. But anyways, let me know what you think about this look and this video. Definitely let me know your opinions on all of the topics that I mentioned today. And yeah, I just really hope you've enjoyed this one. This is kind of the sorry, I accidentally moved the camera. This is the close-up of the look. I just love these types of looks. They're so fun, they're so cute, and yeah, I just love the white liner with the white inner corner and the waterline. I don't know, it just, even if you have a bad makeup day and your eyeshadows look kind of not too great, this always makes it look super fun. I think it's kind of like that kawaii style, and I guess that's what makes it fun for me. But yeah, these are the cheeks, and this is the lip. So that's kind of everything, and now I can just go and read books for the rest of the day. Yeah, but let me know down below all your thoughts and opinions, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. So bye.